On the night of June 11, 2016, hundreds of people lined up outside a nightclub in Orlando, Florida. It was Saturday, Latin night at Pulse, one of the most beloved gay clubs in the city. Inside, the music was pounding, the drinks were flowing, and for many people there, Pulse was more than just a nightclub. It was a safe space, a place where they could dance, laugh, and just be themselves without fear. But as the clock ticked past 2 a.m., that sanctuary would be shattered in the most horrifying way possible. Within minutes, the club would transform from a place of joy into the scene of one of the deadliest hate crimes in American history. Pulse was packed that night. Over 300 people crammed inside. The air was thick with music, laughter, and bodies pressed together on the dance floor. No one knew that just outside in the parking lot, a man sat in his car, scrolling on his phone and loading ammunition into his rifle. His name was Omar Mateen. He was 29 years old, and over the course of his life, he had shown troubling signs like violent outbursts, radicalized views, and a history of domestic abuse. But nothing would prepare the world for what he was about to do. At 2 a.m., he walked through the front doors of Pulse with an SIG Sauer MCX semi-automatic rifle and a handgun. At first, the music drowned it out. Some thought the popping sounds were just part of the song. Maybe fireworks or speakers crackling. But then the screams started. People saw bodies dropping. The DJ cut the music, and that's when the terror set in. Mateen opened fire into the crowd, spraying bullets into the dance floor where dozens of people had been celebrating just moments before. Panic exploded. People trampled over each other, diving behind tables, bathrooms, and bars, desperate for cover. Some managed to escape through emergency exits. Others hid in closets and bathrooms, whispering frantic messages to loved ones, hoping, praying that people would come before it was too late. Inside the bathrooms, dozens of people huddled together, terrified, texting family and calling 911. Some told their loved ones where they were hiding. Others just whispered, "I love you," into the phone, knowing it might be the last words they'd ever say. Police began to arrive within minutes. The first officers exchanged gunfire with Mateen near the entrance, forcing him deeper into the club. That's when the siege began. For 3 agonizing hours, Mateen held survivors hostage inside the bathrooms, while police negotiated outside. During this time, he made multiple phone calls to 911, pledging allegiance to ISIS and rambling about politics and religion. For the people inside, trapped with him, none of that mattered. All they could hear were gunshots and the cries of the wounded. By now, police had the club surrounded. SWAT teams rolled in, armored vehicles blocked off the street, and negotiators got on the phone with Mateen. For 3 hours, time stood still. Inside, the scene was unimaginable. Survivors later described the silence between gunshots between a being almost worse than the gunfire itself. People whispered prayers, texted loved ones, and listened as the gunman moved around just outside the bathroom doors. One young man texted his mom, "I'm gonna die. He's in here with us." Another woman hid under dead bodies holding her breath, hoping Mateen wouldn't notice her. For the people trapped inside, it felt endless. For people outside, it was a race against time. At around 5 a.m., officers heard something that forced their hand. Mateen told hostages he had explosives and was planning to detonate them. Whether or not it was true, they couldn't risk waiting any longer. So they made the call, breach the club. Armored vehicles moved into position, smashing through walls. SWAT officers set off controlled explosions, sending shockwaves through the building, and then they stormed inside. A chaotic gun battle erupted in the dark, smoke-filled club. Dozens of officers fired at Mateen, who fought back until he was finally cornered and killed. The siege was over, but the horror was just beginning. When the shooting finally stopped, silence fell over the club. Survivors crawled out from hiding, stepping over shattered glass, overturned furniture, and the bodies of their friends. Paramedics rushed in, triaging the wounded, carrying survivors out of their arms, using shirts and bar rags as makeshift tourniquets. Outside, police cars and ambulances filled the streets, lights painting the night red and blue. Parents stood behind barricades, waiting in agony for news. Some were reunited with their children. Others received the call no parent should ever get. By sunrise, the scale of the massacre became clear. 49 people were dead, 53 more were wounded, and countless lives were shattered. Orlando woke up that Sunday to something it had never seen before. Blood donation centers were overwhelmed with people lining up for hours. Vigils sprang up across the city. Strangers brought flowers, candles, and posters to makeshift memorials. The nation too stopped and stared. The Pulse massacre wasn't just the deadliest attack on LGBTQ plus people in U.S. history. For a time, it was the worst mass shooting ever carried out on American soil. The 49 who died that night weren't just numbers. They were sons, daughters, friends, and partners. Many were young, some still in their early 20s. That night at Pulse was supposed to be a celebration of life, culture, and identity. Instead, it became the end of everything for them. In the days that followed, news outlets shared their photos. Smiling faces frozen in time, each one carried a story. A college student who dreamed of becoming a nurse. A mother of two who had gone out for the first time in months. A young man who had just come out, finally finding a place where he belonged. Their lives were stolen, but their stories became a rallying cry. Pulse itself never reopened. The building has since become a memorial site, a place where people from all over the world would come to pay their respects. Flowers, letters, and rainbow flags cover its fences, a reminder that the world will not forget. The massacre also sparked conversations about hate crimes, gun violence, and the vulnerability of marginalized communities. For the LGBTQ plus community, it was a wound that cut deep, but it also created unity, solidarity, and resilience in the face of hate. Today, June 12 is remembered every year As a day of mourning and reflection, candlelight vigils are held across the U.S. and beyond. Survivors still live with the scars, both physical and emotional, but many have become advocates, ensuring the voices of the fallen are never silenced. The Pulse nightclub massacre stands as a reminder of both the worst of humanity and the best. Because while one man tried to destroy a community, what followed was an outpouring of love, solidarity, and resilience that his bullets could never erase. The story of Pulse is not just about tragedy, it's about remembrance. It's about the 49 lives taken far too soon. And it's about the strength of a community that refuses to be broken. If you found this story powerful, please consider subscribing for more content like this. And most importantly, take a moment today to remember those we lost at Pulse. Thank you.